And that got me little by little into different things that I learned about a little bit about meditation or a little bit about India, a little bit about spiritual life. We didn't have the internet back then, so I'd walk to the library and look for books and things on it. But through meeting some people and reading about it, by the time high school finished, I realized that all I really wanted to do was to go find an ashram and to deepen that spiritual search. So when I graduated high school, I wrote two letters. I wrote one to my mom and one to my dad. My dad took his to the local priest, and my mom took hers to the psychiatrist. And they're like, they were shocked. But they're amazing people, and they fully supported me, and they let me go. And I came here to India still as a teenager. I was just out of high school in my late teens here to the ashram. And at that time, I didn't have a laptop or anything. So I used to just have a journal. And I recorded so many different instances with Amma in those early years. And they're like gems now that I have. So I wanted to share a few of those with you guys today. So when I first came here, it was a bit overwhelming, and I didn't really know how to, you know, relate to all of the people and being around Amma. And so I had a chance to ask Amma a question. And I asked Amma, there's Amma, there's just one of you, and there's so many of us. Do you even know who I am? Those questions that come up in our early years, for sure. We still go through it, right? And Amma gave a very beautiful answer. Amma said very simply, she said, "Don't worry, you're Amma's child. In time, you'll learn to feel Amma inside." At first, I just wrote it down like, okay, that's cute in the journal. But now, as the years go on, that is like something that has become so powerful. Don't worry, you're Amma's child. You're a child of the Divine Mother. And in time, you'll learn to feel Amma inside. So today we're talking about cultivating habits that can help us in our spiritual life, that can help us in cultivating that feeling of feeling Amma within, of starting to put ourselves in line with her teachings and our life. So rather than give a theoretical kind of analysis, I just like to share two things that have helped me tremendously in my spiritual life and being around Amma related to this topic. So this is just a sharing of what has helped me so much. So in that first year of being here in the ashram, I had a chance to ask Amma another question. We were in the green roof, which is the top of the temple uh, of the ashram. And usually on Mondays after Devi Baba, the residents would gather there. And we would all gather around Amma. And at that time, I asked Amma, how can I progress in my spiritual path? And Amma was sitting on her pitam there, uh, where she gives darshan. And Amma said something that honestly, there's not a day goes by that I don't think about this thing that Amma has said. What she did is she pointed to two pillars that were sitting there on either side of the hall there. And she said, I want you to take a vow to erect two pillars in your life. And she pointed to one and she said, your morning meditation practice and your evening meditation practice. And Amma said, And I want you to make those pillars strong by regularity and developing a love for your practice. Amma said, so that that practice becomes your time just to be alone with God. Amma said, the peace that comes through that regularity of holding on to that vow will start to carry over into your work and your service and everything that you do. If you hold on to these two pillars, they'll support you even through hard times. And then Amma said, if you take this one vow, everything else will start to fall into place. You'll automatically start to adapt your life to support those pillars. So it was and is an amazing teaching. And I've been sharing it ever since then. I really found that if we erect these two pillars within our life, when I erected it within my life, because Amma said to do it, it gives the incentive there. And it doesn't have to be some big thing, but we learn to connect those two pillars of practice with that search, the search that brought me all the way to Amma, that brought me to the spiritual path, and developing a love for that practice so that that time becomes precious. And I found that just as Amma said, once those two pillars were there, then I started to adjust myself to support those two pillars. I found that if I ate a big heavy meal, it affected my evening practice. So I started to adjust a little bit my eating habits, simple things like that. I found that if I got really worked up by something during the day, it affected my practice. And so I saw that little by little, just as Amma said, it helped me to adjust my life to start to adapt to the practice. And I noticed that when I had not just one, but two pillars, even if it was just 5 minutes, if I sat for a few moments in the evening and looked within, I could see, oh my gosh, I'm so restless today. So then I would have to think, what made me so restless today? This happened. So the next day, I can try to adjust and make it more supportive to the second pillar. So in this way, this system, it did exactly as Amma said. It started to put things more into place. And it is always there in the background of my mind. Morning pillar, evening pillar, even if it's just for a tiny short amount. And what has helped so much is Amma also told that once those pillars get established day after day after day after day, they go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Then slowly we can start to try to connect those two pillars with this thought of God all throughout the day. So we connect in the morning, we carry it to the evening, connect in the evening, carry it to the morning. And it becomes a continuity. There's that saying, your evening practice shouldn't be like having dinner with a stranger. So this continuity of practice that is there. And not a day goes by that I don't think, oh, it's evening, second pillar. Oh, it's morning, first pillar. So it's one of those things in the science of habits, a small little thing, and it starts to reshape the structure of your life. And that practice becomes something that you begin to love. We'll go more into that in a second. The second thing that helped me so much in this topic of developing habits is something extremely practical and useful. About 30 years ago or so, one of the swamis gave me a picture. And I've had that picture on my wall in my room for almost 30 years. I've seen the same picture on some brahmacharis' walls, some devotees' walls. And it is a picture of a wheel with five spokes. And it is called the wheel of balance in daily life, according to Amma's teachings. And this little thing has helped me so much in developing these good habits as a constant reminder that's just always there on the wall in front to help attune myself to Amma's teachings and to progress. So it is a wheel and it has five spokes. One spoke is meditation. The second one is service. The third one is study. The fourth one is exercise. And the fifth one is introspection. So meditation, service, study, exercise, and introspection. And each one supports the other. Inevitably, if I'm feeling off when I look at that picture in the evening, I've missed one of these little posts. Either I've missed a meditation and my work has been restless, or I missed reaching out to others in some way, or I missed study, or I missed exercise. So it's a constant reminder to just hit those points to follow the teachings. And it has been a huge help for me. So just looking at each one, the first one is meditation. And we talked about that already. When Amma gave her yoga day talk, Amma said something very nice, that the beauty of yoga sadhana is that it's individual. It appeals to each one in a different way. So the way you meditate is unique to you. So whether it's singing a bhajan and then being quiet, or chanting and then being quiet. For me, I've always associated it with nature. So to be in nature, even to open the door and to be in nature just with the door open, it makes those pillars so much easier. It becomes something that you start to love to do. So in terms of approaching meditation, we can find the way that appeals to us the most. And even if it's just for a few minutes. We can see Amma loves to meditate outside. Even now, Amma loves to meditate even in the swimming pool, floating on her back. So touching that part of meditation each day, even for a few minutes. The second spoke there on the wheel is seva. And that doesn't have to be a huge thing. Just recently, Amma was talking about how one of the easiest sevas to do each day is just to smile. That doesn't take much effort. And this is Amma's words just from about a month ago. Amma was reiterating the importance of smiling. So this is Amma's words. Amma said, a smile is something that automatically elevates the mood of everybody. Even people love to be surrounded by smiling images. Amma was saying that when you go in front of a camera, what do people say? Smile. Amma said a smile is something that uplifts everyone, and it's something that we all can do. She was talking about Eknath, who is the boy, you've seen him on the US tour, who jumps up and down during the bhajans. And Amma was saying that he stands in front of the doorway of the hall, and whoever comes in, he says, smile, smile. And Amma said that he's actually doing a great service. He's actually giving a great message to everyone. Amma said a smile can cause so much joy. It can bring so much joy to others. Amma said in today's time, there's so many souls that are craving for some joy, for some peace, for somebody to smile at them. If we can do that for another person, even just a smile can give them relief. So touching that spoke of service can just be, oh yeah, I should smile at one person today. Simple. The next spoke is study. We take in so many things during the day, and we all know this, but it is just these are action things that we can do. So in terms of study, one beautiful way to study is to ask, what problem am I having in my life right now? And then say, what does Amma say about it? So just as an example, say we're having a problem with fear. This is something that Amma said just a few months ago during the Amrita Dhara. Someone said, what can I do to overcome fear? So Amma said, when negative thoughts of fear come, we should make a resolve and say, I'm not going to walk the path that fear takes me. I'm going to walk the path of love instead. Amma explained to us that we have a choice. We can choose to follow the path of love, or we can choose to follow the path of fear. Instead of embracing fear, we can embrace love. That is what we should follow. So when we have fearful thoughts, we can stop and pause and say, I have a choice. I can choose positivity. I choose love. Every time we can do this again and again in the present moment. Instead of choosing the path of fear, we choose the path of love. We should say, I choose the path of love, and that becomes a habit again and again. So that is an example of study, and we just get one quote of Amma, I choose the path of love instead of the path of fear. Now, in our daily routine, we have a little bit of meditation. We remember to reach out even one time. We try to fill our mind with just one quote, but we also need to take care of our body. That is the fourth spoke. Sometimes we feel like something's wrong, and it's just that we haven't gotten any exercise. And so Amma stresses this a lot. This is just practical stuff. Even just a few days ago, during bhajans, Amma had everyone just doing a few exercises. She was going ma, om, ma, om, ma. And the whole hall, like, it looked like a Wembley Stadium or something. Ma, om, ma. And then front, ma, om, ma, om. So just simple little exercise. And the final one is introspection, just like we're doing, reflecting on how we can apply this in our lives. So when we have this introspection chart, which we know all these things, but it's just a cue to put it into practice in our day-to-day life. A little bit of meditation, a little bit of seva, a little bit of study. Remember to exercise and introspect. And that starts to build momentum. Then in the center of that wheel is our relationship with God. As Amma says, always remember there's an invisible hand holding yours and sharing every moment of your life with you. So that flows through each one of the five spokes. So we never meditate alone. We always feel that the divine is right there when we meditate. We never work alone. We never do seva alone. We never study alone. We never exercise alone. That the divine is there the whole time. We never introspect alone. So these are simple things that we add on as positive habits that start to develop momentum within our spiritual life. This is something that so many of us have used here to attune ourselves to Amma's teaching and to start to develop these good habits within our lives. And the beautiful thing about it is maybe we miss all of them one day. You wake up the next day, it's right there. And you just start over again. So there is just a constant reminder of, okay, now I start again and do it. And we start to develop momentum. So these are two things that have helped me tremendously in my own life around Amma. And these fit right in with what Amma is saying every single day of the things that we should do. So we also can reflect on how we can make slight changes within our own daily life, our own daily program, and see if we can add in these positive ones. and just introspect and see which things I want to change, which things I want to add, and we can talk about that also. So in the end, don't worry. We're all Amma's children, children of the Divine Mother. And if we apply these things that Amma keeps telling us again and again, we'll start to feel her right inside of us, no matter where we are. So this is something we can reflect on.
Thank you so much, Rishi Chaitanya ji. Your talk was so beautiful. As so for our next segment, we're going to go into our breakout rooms, and for the what we'll introspect on in during these breakout rooms is we'll each think of one good habit that we want to start, and we'll discuss it together. And after when we come back from the breakout room, we'll do a small art talent showcase. And after that, one person from each group, if you could share with Rishi Chaitanya ji and the rest of us what with what your goal will be and your plan, like your new habit and plan, and Rishi Chaitanya ji will weigh on it. And just for a recap before we go into the breakout rooms, so we Rishi Chaitanya ji talked about the five spokes, which are meditation, service or seva, study, exercise, and introspection, all bound together by our relationship with God. Thank you. Hi everyone. Now Kishant will do his art talent showcase, and while he's presenting, you can take a few moments to collect your thoughts. And even if your group didn't designate you as a speaker, we'll see if we have time for other people to present. So, thank you.
Hey. Can y'all hear me okay? All right, sounds good. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kishant. Ignore ignore this for a sec. But yeah, I'm a rising junior at UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina. And so we're doing a little bit of a showcase of my art. I was trying really hard to avoid this, but I guess it's my turn. Um, so
Also,
yeah,
before
uh,
you continue, Kishant,
yeah.
I just wanted to give Kishant a huge shout out. He does most of the graphics for IU the Americas for the past few years. So any of the Instagram posts or banners you see on tour, all designed by Kishant. So big shout out and big thank you. So we get to see a little insight into his like creative mind.
Thank you. I'm not sure if that's fully deserved, but yeah, so I grew up drawing. It was more of doodling. This picture, honestly, it's 50-50 whether or not I'm drawing or doing homework, but like that's sort of like where it came from, which was me just avoiding the work and doing the like, doodling in the margins. And I will say, like, I drew like comics as a kid. Like, I did the little kid stuff. But I didn't really make drawing like a true hobby of mine until later in life. And like that's like early or like late high school, early middle school. So these are some of my earlier drawings. I used to really love like How to Train Your Dragon, superheroes, and like cars. Those were like my three big ones. And that's sort of like, it's a running theme in my life. Those are like the things that I like to draw specifically. Another thing is a really big jump in my desire to draw came around 2020 during COVID. I started watching anime and I got really into anime. And so like watching these like, characters that are supposed to like bring you joy and bring you excitement, they also brought me really close to friends because I was not very social. I had a very hard time making friends. And so in high school, like I was just beginning to make friends and then COVID hit because I was a freshman during that. And I was like, oh shoot, I don't have anybody to talk to. And I just started watching anime with some guys I met in school. And soon enough, we were just drawing together. We were having fun together, and that's sort of really how I like came into my own. So I owe a lot to like that part of my life. And then moving on into my drawing process specifically, it's a bad like drawing, I guess, like subject material, but like this one really showcases my process. So like I usually start very rough and I like sort of sketch out what I'm trying to portray, and then I'll maybe the second image like I'll go over that and bring it a little bit more to life. And then a little bit more you get the final product. This is like the refining stage. It takes the longest and you can really see the details coming together. And then lastly, you got the final product where I go in, I color underneath, I shade, and I do all the fun stuff. Um, yeah, this one's an interesting one. I sort of picked it at random. This guy's having a little crisis, but it's like part of this like character, like this group. Oh shoot, this group of characters I was designing. Um, and this is one of them. And I think another testament to like how much I love to draw is the fact that I try my best to incorporate character design, anatomy, like these like crazy perspectives, and then like even fashion into what I'm drawing. So that's a little bit more. Oh, okay. There we go. Next up, my love for superheroes. These are just some of my favorite drawings. That's Superman trying to like get two of those flat Lego pieces apart. I don't think he can do it too. And then the other one is Bruce Banner mid-transformation into the Hulk. I'm a nerd. I love drawing superheroes. Those are two of my more recent ones that I'm kind of proud of. But art doesn't like, okay, so art doesn't necessarily have to be a purely hobby thing. I'm also kind of superstitious, and I don't mean to be preachy here, but like I grew up with Hanuman, like the Hindu god, being like an inspiration, like a symbol of, courage and wisdom and strength. And so kind of my ritual before major exams has always been to draw him, try to capture some of that essence. And so also another thing to note is I love like monochromatic drawings, like drawing like within a certain color, trying to keep it within a palette. This is no different. But yeah, so this one over here on the right, I personally am, trying to stay on the path to becoming a doctor. So this drawing over here on the right is very special to me. Can y'all see like the faces on my screen, or like do y'all not get that? You guys just see the slides, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Because on my side, you guys are like kind of covering this drawing. I was wondering. Other way, so this one is Hanuman holding up, I think it's the Sanjeevani plant, which is the plant he used to help save a life. And that's just very symbolic. I know, I think I drew that before a chemistry test that I definitely did not do well on. But like that just it sort of like it shows I guess how I try to apply drawing in my day to day, because a lot of times, especially in college, it's been hard to keep up with it, and so this is kind of how I tie it back into um, my daily life. Moving on, like I said, I'm in college, so I definitely have been trying to pursue it more through like classes and stuff. And so that top right is sort of like my classroom for from the art class that I took, and then the final picture on the left, it's not amazing, but it's one of my favorites. I have it hung up in my bedroom. But the reason why I like it so much is because of that picture in the bottom right. I worked really hard on this drawing. Like, and it was one of our final projects. I worked really, really, really hard. And final stretch, I was trying to get the night sky around the house and I spilled a bottle of ink all over the drawing. And so I had to completely restart after like 2 hours, 3 hours worth of work. And it's a sort of testament to like persevering and sticking with it, because that's what drawing is. Um, I find it to be less about less about a can and can't, more about like a will and won't. Because despite what things might appear to be, is I'm not like, I wouldn't call myself amazing at drawing. I would call myself like somebody who like sticks with it and will erase and redo and erase and redo until I like it. And this is a sort of showcase of that. You really have to try and you really have to stick with it, because you will want to tear out your hair and you will want to you will want to rip up the pages. But if you keep with it, it definitely does work out. Um, or it doesn't have to be like, purely self-motivated either. A big jump that I made into digital art was actually through designing a logo for my high school's student equity team, where we tried our best to make, school more equitable and get people more involved and make people feel more included. And so that's when I picked up my iPad and switched over from paper pencil to like drawing digitally. And you can totally translate those passions you have for art, drawing, and like making things into helping people and communicating your passions to others through like service and that sort of stuff. Lastly, this is a design you guys might have seen. It's on some of our merch that we sold on tour last year. I don't want to take full credit for this. Rishi from Chicago is actually the one who was like, "Hey, you should make the Ayu dove out of flowers." And I was like, "Oh shoot, that's a brilliant idea." And so we sat down together in Amritsari and made it happen. But yeah, this is like a sort of, I just use this one image, but I also do want to say that I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to make graphics. I get a little lazy at times. People on core team can definitely attest to the fact that I sometimes fall behind, but I really love the opportunity to use my whatever talent I have to make these graphics and put them on Instagram and have people see them and use that to communicate to Ayuth as a whole. I'm not sure if this is the last one. I want to say it's the last one. It is. Okay. Any questions for me? I know I rambled. I definitely didn't stay within 5 minutes, but any questions? Anything at all?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Would you ever be interested in doing like oil paintings or delving into that?
I am lousy with the paintbrush. I've tried. I Oil paints are also really expensive.
Uh,
But I do you paint with oils?
I do. I
Uh-huh.
would recommend if you want to get into oil painting, stock up on linseed oil. It's a pretty nice, like decent thinner that is allows for the color to be spread more easily.
Okay.
And so you're not wasting a lot of color.
Okay.
But the painting does take a long time to then dry. Like I've had some paintings dry for like weeks.
I don't know if I'm that patient, but yeah, no, I definitely I've experimented with acrylics, and so I think oils would be the next logical step. Yeah, that's super cool. I'd love to see your art sometime. Anybody else?
Looks amazing. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, I
Great.
guess I have a question if you want to
Yeah.
answer real quick. Do you ever like draw for like stress relief or like is drawing stressful or like do you like scribble or like how does that work?
I feel like it's kind of an in-between. I feel like I start drawing to de-stress and then I get too into it and then I get stressed again. Um, but no. For the most part, it's definitely like a good experience. Like I'll sometimes a little too good, like it'll take me away from the work I'm supposed to be doing. But I definitely do find myself feeling a lot better after I've done, a bit of drawing. Yeah,
Nice.
it's a mix of both.
Nice. And
Thank
you've
you.
always done that since you were young?
Oh yeah. My like when we moved out of our first house, we had to pay extra for painters to come and like literally paint up the walls. Like it was
Oh,
it was like
okay.
I had my like study nook and I used to,
Canvas.
doing my homework, I used to draw on the walls and like, pass the time doing that. So it's
Nice.
always been kind of a, how do I avoid work and, you know, not feel totally bad about it. But yeah,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Kishant. Yeah, that was awesome. It was so cool to hear like your process and tell us like different motivations to do art too. That was so awesome. Thank you. Uh, yeah, and now if each group wants to share one habit that one person from group three wants to go first. Group three, I believe, was um Kishant, Vishnu, Vibhu, Sahaja, Praful, Kali Devi, Dheeraj, and Arjun.
Yeah, sure. I could share from my group. So what was the question, Ritu? Sorry. Spaced out.
Yeah, you could share insights from your group or preferably one habit that you want to start and your plan for it.
Um, so one habit I guess I would want to start is just like personally meditating more because I've noticed that like during even during satsangs, after like Arati, we have a short meditation usually in Chicago, and I usually just either space out honestly, and I don't really know because like when there's tours and when Amma is there, it feels much easier to meditate in Amma's physical presence compared to when you're trying to just do it alone or like without the white flower recording or something like that. So I feel like that is a struggle for me. And I guess to try and just incorporate that more, it's just like you have to start just sitting down and trying to just relax your mind. So I guess I'm just gonna start actually trying to meditate during satsangs instead of spacing out. Yeah.
Nice, very nice. I mean, shall I reply? Is it okay?
Yes, please. Yeah, that's the whole
Uh,
point. Sorry.
one
Okay. Yeah.
one thing that's helped me so much also in developing a liking for meditation is Amma also says like our meditation should be like just taking a piece of candy and putting it in our mouth and just enjoying that piece of candy. So it's like something that becomes kind of personal and fun. But we have to find that ourselves. Like just something that someone telling us to do, it doesn't stick all the time. So sometimes I say it's not how to meditate, but how do you meditate? Like, how do you pray inside? Just how do you talk to yourself inside? So it's like linking the technique with something very personal. That has helped me so much. It's like when we used to build forts when we were little kids, and you like take pillows and you make a fort, and that was my fort. No one was allowed in, and that was my space. So approaching meditation in kind of this way of creating something very personal has helped me so much.
Thank you.
You- If I could ask a follow-up question on what you just
Yeah.
said, um, but sometimes we're meditating in like more public spaces like a group satsang. I tend to feel like really like self-conscious and also like I feel like such an imposter. Like I never meditate, like I'm pretending to be spiritual, like I also don't know what expression I'm making or like I just feel like really embarrassed. So like how do you like I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's just getting used to kind of letting yourself go. Like you I think we all look a little funny when we meditate. So I think it's definitely not something uh, you know, to worry about. It's just like I said in the meditation, forget everyone around you and just go within. And so I think it's also just developing that habit of, okay, I'm gonna forget everything around and withdraw within.
Thank you so much. I guess now we can move on to room two. That was Arun, Lisa, Vibha, Tracy, E, Siddharth, Gayatri, and Ameya.
Um, Thank you, Ritu. I will share one common thing that we all wanted to do better is building a habit of exercising. So a few of us shared the experience that exercising is intolerably boring. So 1 minute on the treadmill feels like 10 minutes of just being really bored. And we might try to build a habit, and then sometimes we do it for like a few days when we have a high motivation, but then it's not sustainable, and then it goes away after like a week or so. So that's one thing we want to do. And one part of the satsang earlier that kind of resonated with us is also how you said meditation, even if you do like 5 minutes, that's still good for building that habit. So we thought maybe we could apply that for building an exercise habit, even if we do like 1 to 2, 3 minutes or something. Maybe that's better than not doing it at all. But anything that you can share to help us build that habit would be great.
Yeah, I think that's the key of this, just one technique that I shared is just touching it each day. So even if it's, you know, a few jumping jacks, or like Amma did, you know. It's just that these things, then they develop a momentum on their own. But and we also, part of the introspection is to see, like, when we do get that habit of exercise, it helps all of the other elements of our life also. It helps the meditation, it helps our work, it helps our bodies. So again, uh, it's this way of making it desirable. So to me, something that I have incorporated into exercise is prayer. And so, like I said, never exercise alone. And so this is something that you're kind of hitting two things with one, with one stone, like that. So, whether uh, moving and feeling that you're with the divine as you move. So it becomes a meditation. It's like Amma is now swimming every Friday in the swimming pool, and it's just like a meditation, but she said she needs it because she also needs exercise. So she's just setting this example. And she goes in the swimming pool and she sings and she says ma and goes under and ma and goes under. So she said she needs exercise for her body, but she spiritualizes is everything. So even the jumping jacks are ma and om. So kind of combining the two, and it requires effort. But if we just hit it every single day, we do gain some momentum. It does take effort, but it does bring the results also, and try to make it fun.
Thank you, Sanji. And I think that making it fun is definitely something. And sometimes workout feels like almost like a punishment for me. So I think
Yeah,
that is definitely something makes sense.
yeah.
And finally, group one. So Anuj, Janani, Lavelle, Rishi, Stephanie, and me.
So we had some pointers in our discussion. One of the points that we were discussing initially was that the 5 points of dhyan, seva, study, exercise, and introspection, that they're based off of presence essentially, where your focus is to build a presence, and then these would stack. Now, there were two different paths that one could take to then achieve this, where if you're more of a clear cut where you want to list, you can go down the list of then trying to build these different habits to then gain presence, or you can go the alternative route where you're trying to build presence, which might be more ambiguous, but then you can later build the other habits. And some of the other habits that people want to do. Ritu also wanted exercise. And funny point, Ritu, is that actually treadmill was a form of punishment when it was first made. So it was made for that purpose. So
You can't stop.
and we also had me and Lavelle try to do fasting as well, where we're trying to build the habit of fasting. I personally also want to increase the introspection part because uh, usually the workday life is so long that you're just too exhausted to even introspect on what's going on. So then obviously you would need those breakers where you're thinking about how to pivot in life or what to do that is different so that you can keep improving.
Yeah, nice. And sometimes introspection doesn't have to be in the evening.
Yeah.
It can be at other times when the mind is more fresh, and like sometimes the evening comes and we just don't have the energy to think about it, the day before. So it's finding a better time like that.
I mean, I looked out where if I need to get some critical or constructive criticism, I just need to call my mother, and there's a whole list that
She'll give you the
yes.
list. She'll tell you what you need. So yeah, it's just everyone can experiment and work with it and see kind of what you're looking to improve and how the different things can help it. Like I found I was sleepy during meditation, so I started doing just like 5 minutes of running in place before meditation, and that I learned oxygenates the whole system, it clears out the lungs, and it gives this alertness. So there are two already taken care of. And one is I do it now, the exercise to support the meditation. So it's like contemplating how each one fits together, and starting the day with a restless mind or starting today with a bit of a more peaceful mind. And another way, like we did in the beginning, just to, Amma has given this gift of darshan, which is living inside of us, and it's a way to connect. So everyone wants to go for darshan, they're always asking for a token. So if that becomes your meditation, it also becomes something just sweet and simple. And oh yeah, I can do that twice a day. And also that starts to connect me. So that's personal opinion, but that's something that we can experiment with to connect us to that presence that's always there.
And another like added perspective that I gained while trying to build a meditation habit was how it's all connected, especially with taking care of the body, where I also had the issue of I was falling asleep when I was doing dhyan. But then I realized like, hey, if you're sleeping only 3 or 4 hours a night, maybe that's why you're falling asleep during meditation. So you got to
Yeah.
take care of the other aspects of the life as well.
Yeah, just what Amma said. If these become important to you, if it becomes precious, then everything else starts like, oh, I need more sleep so I can have better practice. So that's how I think that's what Amma meant with the pillars and with these points like that. So it's something we all just have to work on it, myself included, and but it's a beautiful guide that can help us tune into Amma's teachings.
Uh, we received an anonymous question related to what we were just talking about meditation. The question is, you mentioned that meditation should become like enjoying a piece of candy. I've never been able to enjoy meditation. How do you get to the enjoyment phase for meditation? Does it come after establishing a solid or consistent discipline?
I think it can, but I think initially we can look at how we approach meditation so that there's so many different ways to meditate. And this is what Amma was saying on the yoga day. So it's finding the way that appeals to us, that we can start to, you know, enjoy it. You can sing a bhajan and then sit silently and let that be an entry point into meditation. You can do yogasana and then sit silently. You can, you know, even dance can be a form, but there should be a period of stillness after. So this entry point becomes something that we start to developing a liking for. So it does take time within the practice to develop like the sweetness of it, but we also can introspect and see what we're most drawn towards in terms of meditation. Some people I know, they hate chanting. They can't stand the archana. It's like pure torture. It's worse than the treadmill. And others, like they just don't want to sit still, but they love, walking meditation. There are others that just like to sit into nature and listen to the sounds of nature. So there's different ways, and there's so many different paths to approach it, and that also can bring that sweetness in it. And then there'll be ups and downs. I remember I asked Amma, which path should I follow in terms of meditation? And Amma said, really introspect, find out which path draws you the most, what moves your heart the most, and then start diving into that and keep digging that one hole until you start to reach water. But it started with what you're drawn to the most. So this is another form of introspection. Meditation is to understand who we are. It's to understand us. So we need that entry point to go inside. It's not about mastering something to prove to someone else. It's just like, what's going on inside of me? So these are some things we can think about.
Thank you so much. Um, if everyone's okay with it, we can move on to the bhajan and announcements. Or Rishi Chaitanya ji, do you think we should open up the floor in case anyone has like a pressing question.
As you like. If you have a pressing question, otherwise we're happy to move on to.
Okay. If anyone has a pressing question, feel free to speak up, and while you're preparing, we will present some announcements. Uh, I guess one of the announcements is Swamiji is coming to the US. Definitely look online for the tour dates. The AYUDH retreat um will be happening on August 22nd at MA Center Chicago. Please register as soon as possible. Um and there's like a really fun promotional video on Instagram if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, please register. It'll be a lot of fun and hope to see you there. Yes. And I will text the link to register in the chat right now. And next, thank you so much, AYUDH Seattle, for getting together on a weekday for presenting our budget. Whenever you're ready, you can start. Such a mesmerizing bhajan. Some of the chat comments were like girl power, special shout out to the tablas. Just super, super beautiful. Thank you guys so much. Um, we got a Amma amazing, but with like the Amma, so amazing. Amma amazing. I don't know how to say that. Let's go. Uh, and there was many reactions that you guys couldn't see, but everyone was reacting during the budget. So thank you. Uh, yeah, thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll be concluding with some concluding prayers. Thank you so, so much, Rishi Chaitanya ji, for joining us with at AYUDH Americas for the first time. Such a beautiful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bhajan. You can just feel it flowing through the headphones. And it's very nice to connect with all of you. I hope that if I see you in America, or if any of you come to India, I'd love to meet you in person and share more and catch up more. And it's wonderful to just share in this community. We're all Amma kids in the end. And so it's just so nice to share with each one of you. You inspire me also. So let us then conclude our time together. And let's just close our eyes. And let's just pray that we can put these teachings into practice so that we can improve our own lives, that we can bring more peace into our own lives, that we can draw closer to the divine, that we get the strength to move forward in our day-to-day life and bring peace into our day-to-day life as well. And touching that, we can spread this love, this community to all of those that we come in contact with just through our presence. So let's join together as one Amma family and chant the closing prayers. Take a deep breath. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Ama's love to each and every one of you from here from Amritapuri.
Thank you, Swamiji. Namaskar. Namaskar, everybody. Sweet dreams,
Namaskar.
Amma. Bye.
So
Good
much.
night.
Thank you.
It's 6:30 a.m. for Rishi Chaitanya ji, so big shout out. Thank you all.
And good night to everyone. Sleep well. And so nice to see you all.
Namah
Thank you,
Shivaya, thank
Swamiji.
you.
Thank you,
Namaskar.
Swamiji. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar.